I don't get solicitors. Yeah, they want some. That's what you gotta do.
Kirby, did you get the check? Can I interrupt? Okay, go
No, just tiny, my oldest.
Is that what is pregnant now?
No.
Okay.
What's her first?
When'd she do?
Next one.
Was she really? Oh, she didn't seem that far.
Yeah, she got 4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
She's a year old already.
Is she what she's having?
She talked. Yeah, she's oh, she always since the day she was born. Yes. And she weighed.
She did.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, go there. Look it up. Everybody share that. And our way is we're back for the
Won't be able to, tell her to sit down, she'll. Start doing. No, I'm not that I'm exactly. My grandson is 18, and this one just about a year old. Those are my two grands.
Yeah.
They're in the township.
And you can just pictures of her like he loves her.
What? Some sort of thing you want to do.
Yeah, it's.
So there's gonna be in the end.
And
some significant cost.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Like she stayed.
No,
Right.
because they have to do an extension. So that's where you get the choice of fee.
So that's, so next, okay.
So that's why it's.
I would think so, yeah, if it's substantive. Yeah.
I love those alligators. I love those. Those just like.
Defer that to you, or
Yes.
there's nothing to say?
I'll do it.
Okay.
And that's how I think you're. Yeah, that's why it's.
Okay, all right,
This one?
Call the meeting to order. Please rise if you're able for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Mr. Art?
Here.
Ms. Cook? Here. Ms. Eisenhart?
Here.
Ms. Falcone? Here. Mr. Haney?
Here.
Ms. Hassler?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
And Ms. Palmer is absent.
A note for the record, executive sessions were held on September 17th, September 25th, and October 2nd, 7th, and 9th, 2024 regarding labor negotiations with the Teamsters Local 773. Under approval of the minutes, before I ask for a motion, I'd like to make a statement. There were items raised by residents which are disputed, and that I would like to give a statement and have it attached to the minutes of the October meeting as a rebuttal. The following document was written to be made part of and entered into the minutes of this October 14th, 2024 meeting. The purpose being to comment for the record on inaccurate information and disparaging remarks made at the September 9th, 2024 meeting regarding council members. All residents of Topton are welcome to comment on matters of concern at our regularly scheduled meeting during the hearing of visitors section of our agenda. However, public comment should not be a time to air speculation and rumors. At our September 9th, 2024 meeting, there were remarks and opinions voiced by a resident of Topton that implied misconduct by the members of this council. These allegations are without basis as follows. The first allegation was of a meeting having taken place between 3 members of council. This was not a meeting, as there was no quorum. The resignations had not been accepted. A remark was made regarding members of council resigning and rescinding their resignations, as though this constituted wrongdoing. It is not. A member of council can resign and rescind their decision prior to the remaining council members voting to accept their resignation as per the Borough Code. A council member remains a council member until the vote takes place. A statement was made referencing members of council whispering in the ears of other members at the meeting of September 2nd, 2024. There is no regulation against council members talking, gesturing, texting, emailing, whispering, or communicating to one another in any other way at any time. There was reference made about social media posts by individual members of council. Members of this council are entitled to individually comment on social media posts if they so choose. As in the case with any other individual, this is freedom of speech. No individual member speaks for this council is to reference their opinion as being that of the council. Any public post made by the Borough Council stating an official position will be titled as a post by the council as a whole. A number of questions were asked about our current negotiations with our workers who have unionized with the Teamsters. Because we are in the process of negotiating the contract, details of our discussions will be between our contract representative and the Teamsters representative. Respectfully submitted, Topton Borough Council. With that being said, can I get them both approved at one time, or do I gotta do them
Why
separately?
don't you do separate motions for July 8th and September 23rd?
Can I request a motion to approve the July 8th, 2024 meeting minutes?
I so move.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I was here for that one.
You were?
Yes.
Okay.
Were you seated as a member of council on July 8th?
Yes.
Okay, yes, okay.
July,
July?
June comes till September.
Okay, no.
Okay.
Okay, so.
All right, so why don't we, Carol, why don't we list, any member who was not seated, at that meeting, will list as an abstention?
Okay, carried. For the September 23rd, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain from that one, I was not here for that.
Scott?
That's all right.
Thank you. Moved. Communications.
I do not have any at this time.
Okay. Mayor's report.
The only thing I have to report on, I think the Teacocks did a really great job on the parade Saturday. Judging by driving down the roads, it looked pretty cool, pretty nice night out Saturday, so Teacocks again did a really good job, so I'd like to say thank you to the Teacocks. That's all I got.
Thank you. Police report.
Thank you. Topton Police Report, September, 837 patrol miles, 95 patrol hours, handled 38 incidents, 2 crash investigations, issued 12 traffic citations, 2 non-traffic citations or arrests, additional 8 hours of traffic checks, hour paperwork, 8 vehicle stops, 3 hours of follow-up criminal investigation time, and 1 hour court time. We investigated 3 reportable crimes in September, including theft, criminal mischief, and a welfare check which resulted in a resisting arrest charge. 2 criminal arrests were made out of those incidents. Citation breakdown, 6 parking, 1 speeding, 2 school zone violations, 2 driving without a license violations, and 1 expired registration. Personnel related to the resisting arrest charge, an officer was injured. He was on light duty for approximately 2 weeks. He has since returned to full duty status. The result was a foot pursuit, went hands on, hurt his knee in the process. And still working on the 2025 budget. I'm also looking to apply for a grant seeking funding for new equipment and camera systems. That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
What did you find out about the van?
The van was found with nothing.
Nothing.
Now, everything appears to be legal on it. So, parked legally. Whether he put, I mean, the stickers look good. If they didn't look sick, there's no way for us to tell at this point. How was being parked there.
Okay.
And actually, it was actually checked on before you actually told me about it. Yeah, we had officer actually had seen the system and checked on it. And I checked on it again, just after that following day, so. Yeah, as far as we know right now, everything appears to be legal on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. We're gonna make a quick agenda change. We have our auditors here to give a report. So I'm gonna flip-flop the schedule a little bit and go right to Kathy's report. So if they need to go, they can.
I'm Justin Bell, and this is Kayla Key. I'm the supervisor, and she's a senior, and we're from Zelenkovsky Axelrod. So we did your guys' audit. So we did the 22 audit, the 23 audit, and you guys also needed a single audit in 2023 over your federal awards. So I'm just going to go over some communications that were required to go over with you guys. So we issued the 2022 in March, the 23 financial statements in September, and the single audit in September of 24. We conducted our audit consistent with the plan, scope, and timing we communicated with you. We remained independent. We identified the following risks: management override of controls and improper revenue recognition due to fraud. Now, these are common risks that we identify for every audit, and although these risks were identified, we planned procedures to mitigate these risks. We didn't identify any significant or unusual transactions. We had no significant difficulties during the audit. All adjustments that we proposed were posted by management. Management signed a representation letter dated March and September, repping to certain items, and that there were, to our knowledge, that there were no consultations with any other accounting firms. And then there was also another letter, it's communication of deficiencies. So we did have some findings that we noted during the audit that we've communicated to Stacy. Some related to journal entries, segregation of duties, which you guys have been working on, some over the disbursement process, and then the reconciliation process were some of the findings that we had. And Kayla's gonna go over some of the highlights of the financial statements.
So you have a modified cash basis financial statement, so that's how we audited your financial statements. You're modified for interfunds, so by modified cash basis, that means everything's on, as cash is received, that's how it's recorded, and as it's dispersed, that's how it's recorded. The only thing additional is that you record transfers and due froms. There's no accounts payable or accounts receivable. So we issued an unmodified opinion for both the 22 and 23 financial audits. This is the highest level of assurance we can offer during an audit. The borough has 4 major funds: the general fund, special revenue funds, which includes liquid funds and other governmental funds, the enterprise fund, which includes the water and sewer funds, and then fiduciary funds, which is mostly escrow. So on the 2022 audit, we have the general fund had about $665,000 in assets. That would be cash and interfunds. Special revenue had $282,000 in assets. Enterprise fund had $341,000 in assets, and general fund had a fund balance of $639,000 at year end. You can see that on page 4 if you have your reports for the board numbers. Special revenue fund had $270,000 in fund balance at year end, and enterprise fund had $237,000 in net position at year end. At the end of the year, general fund had a negative $157,000 change in fund balance. You can see that on page 13. This is due to an increase in public work and highway expenditures. I think there was a changing of like salary information. Special revenue had a positive change in fund balance of $27,500. Sewer and water funds had a negative $229,000 change in fund balance. This was due to increased operating costs. And then at the end of 2022, the borough had $1.7 million in outstanding debt. The borough had $422,000 of capital expenditures during the year. A large amount of that was street and highway. And then in 2022, the borough had a wage expense of $513,000. And your notes are all comparable to what you had in previous years with RKL, so nothing should have looked very different compared to that. In 2023, as I said, there's another unmodified opinion, highest level of assurance. The general fund had $751,000 in assets at year end. Special revenue fund had $280,000. Enterprise fund had $336,000. And the general fund had 751,000 in fund balance, special revenue fund had 280,000 in fund balance, and enterprise fund had 245,000 in net position. General fund had a positive change in fund balance of 112,000, special revenue had a positive change of 10,000, and enterprise had a positive change of 8,600. The borough had a 1.3 million in outstanding debt at year end, and the borough had 1.3 million in capital projects, mainly funded by the federal grant, the TASA grant, which was what triggered the borough into having that single audit this year for 2023. So if you have any expenditures over 750 from a federal grant, that causes a single audit. So therefore we had a single audit this year because you had 1.3 million in federal expenditures for that TASA grant. So the major program we audited was ALN 20.205 for Highway Planning Program, which is what the TASA grant fell under. And there were no findings over compliance for this program, but we did list one finding related to the financial audit within our single audit report. Those are the same items that Justin mentioned. So, any questions?
Any council have questions? Kathy, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, not right now.
Okay,
I have a question for Stacy, and then not for them, so maybe ask that later.
that's up to you.
Depends on if they're going to be answering the question.
Well, I think that you could probably answer, I guess I just, on this one report, I just had a question on,
Well, if it's on the report, ask it now.
okay, so this is on the single audit report from December 31st, 2023. The one concern that they just mentioned about reconciling of all bank account balances. What is the last month that we reconcile our bank accounts
Recently,
that they're referring to in this report?
it's the timeliness of,
Yeah, do we have?
I should be doing them monthly.
Yeah, so when's the last month we've reconciled our bank accounts? Do you have no range?
I don't think we've completed September yet, no.
September of this year?
Correct.
But before that, everything else has been reconciled?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, that's all, that's one question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're free to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good night.
Okay, the next thing will be hearing of visitors. If you'd like to speak, I'd like you to raise your hand, state your name, your address, and just be aware that address the council as a whole, no derogatory comments, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Jim Springer from the Kutztown Rotary Club, and our 100th anniversary is 2026, and we wanted to give a legacy project to the Topton Borough. And I made a list, I've got a list of projects that might be interesting to you from Ethan and Julie and Elaine.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jim.
So this is good news.
This is good news. We talked about last year, right, talked about.
Our 100th anniversary is 2026, and we want to do a legacy program for you, legacy gift. And we talked to Ethan and a couple people about ideas. We did the racquetball court, or the squat, what do you call that? Pickleball court to Kutztown. And we thought we'd like to do the same for you. It's just a matter of the location if you'd like to be, or if you have another suggestion that you think might be appropriate or more pressing or something like that. I don't know if you are familiar with the Kutztown Rotary Club, but our motto is service above self. Does anybody have any questions in regards? Yes.
I do. We have been trying for at least 4 or 5 years to get, and funding has always been a problem, the skateboard park. We currently have nothing for young adults who don't like team sports. We have tons of team sports. nothing that's not, so I'm surprised somehow Ethan didn't
And
get
state
that.
would, you know, I don't know what the cost of one of those might be, but that might be something that we can participate in.
Okay.
Can I ask, what's your funding, goal?
Our goal,
Or how much do you wanna give away, because we actually have, a park master plan being developed right now. And I think there's a presentation to that end tonight.
let's say it might be up towards the $10,000 area.
Okay. That's awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, any other questions?
So when could we, when are we looking to get this, are you looking to?
Pardon me?
What time, date would you say you're looking to give this money?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so between now and 2026?
Yeah.
We have something going on,
Okay, we'll definitely ask our engineer to keep that offer in mind, and we'll pick something out for you. Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak? Yes.
I just want to say a couple library things instead of at the end. You've probably seen the sign out front about the grant that was received. We're really excited about that because we were the only Berks County library to receive that, and there are only 22 in the state. That grant is a matching fund grant for $5,000, but then we have to raise donations to match that in order to receive it. So that's pretty cool. And our main fundraiser of the year is coming up. It's November 9th, it's Saturday, it's our vendor fair. It's up in the Henry Auditorium for Return Home, and we hope to see all of you there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other residents like to speak? Go ahead.
I'd like to just point out, my wife and I go for walks, and we're in the process of getting streetlights fixed in town. I got 3 of them done. The worst one was at Hawes and Smith Street. It was totally black. So we finally got that one done. Scott and I went, after our last meeting, we drove the parade route, and we found 13 of them out, and 13 of them got fixed. I know of 3 more that are out, and we're gonna go one night and try to do the rest. We probably only did maybe a fourth of the town so far, and we had 16 that were out. So we're gonna try to get the rest of the, it took, first time I went, called them, it took us like 2 months to get the 3 fixed. But now they have a new system, and Scott got it done within a week or 2.
By the engaged.
Yeah, so they're a lot quicker, getting it done. So hopefully, I know of 3 more that have to get done, but there's probably more in town that need to get done. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's more good news.
Thanks. Stacy, don't our workers look at those and address that?
Yes, and there's also a portal that any resident, if it is a med ed service, like, the problem is some people don't know whether it's med ed service or our service. So it's hard because we're not here at night to see if they're all going on. So we really strongly encourage people to let us know. And there is going to be something in the newsletter regarding this on how to let us know. Yep.
You also, when you report it on MedEd, you need the poll number?
You need the poll number, the
That's
Med number.
Yeah.
And you need the street address.
Yeah, the local.
You need so you gotta
Closest.
you gotta get the number on the pole, and you gotta get the street
Is there
address.
anything we can do to better identify what Med's problem and what's ours?
We have a list, and
Okay.
it would be on our list.
Okay.
And there are a few that now are ours to service, and we are out of lights, and they are quite expensive, so we're trying to find a vendor, because the vendor that we previously ordered the part from, the light and the sensor, no longer deals with it. So we're on that, and we're getting pricing, and we have to probably order 4 or more, and they're about 3,000 a piece.
But they were upwards of that.
Per light. Per light.
It does make a big difference.
It
when,
does, it's safe.
The Smith and Hawes Street was bad. You got the Smith and St. Croix was bad, and we had the Home Avenue one down here at Franklin was out too. So it was almost all the intersections were no lights.
And it seems, because you observed it, It seems like they're all dying at a
Same
similar
time.
time. Sorry.
We're probably putting them all in around the same time.
That's a valuable endeavor, cause we pay a flat rate for those lights, whether they're on or not, so keep it up.
Yes, thank you very,
Yes.
very much.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. Solicitors report.
Okay, an update on 546 Celia Avenue. That is a property that has had many property maintenance complaints and concerns raised. There are liens against this property for unpaid sewer, water, property maintenance, pest control, lawn care. The owner is incapacitated and under a professional guardianship. I have contacted the Guardian Elder Care Solutions Incorporated, which is, I believe, located in Williamsport. Contacted them last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, regarding the complaints, because they are the court-appointed guardian of the property as well as of the person, guardian of the estate and guardian of the person. And asked them again to contact me regarding keeping up their obligations to the property. I gave them a deadline of last Friday. They have not responded to date. And I think that because they are a court-appointed guardian, that the court should be advised that they are not keeping up their obligations. I would have to file a petition in court to do that. And perhaps to have a local guardian name, not anyone affiliated with the borough, but there are agencies locally which provide professional guardianship services if no individual is able to step forward. There had been a relative living in the house unlawfully, and that person will not be able to be guardian. So I would like council's authorization, and I believe it can be done under this heading without amending the agenda, to pursue a petition in orphans court regarding the guardian of the property.
So I need to call for a motion.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to call for a motion to approve petitioning the court for a new guardian to be appointed.
Or to petition for the guardian to act.
Yes.
Guardian to act.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Can you just rest for a moment, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had a question. Is this something where we would be paying the guardian, or that would come out of the individual's funds?
That would come out of the individual's funds. No, we are not in any way obligated to pay the guardian. The idea is to stop us from having to pay at taxpayer expense bills for pest control, lawn care, and delinquent sewer and water, so that the taxpayers don't have to carry this property.
And the current guardian has just been ignoring this time and time.
Ignoring the property, and maybe the current guardian is taking very good care of the property owner as far as seeing to her proper care. I'm not saying they aren't, I'm not saying they're being neglectful of that, but they are being neglectful of the property. If they're guardian of the estate, that means keeping the property in good shape for the sake of the owner, the value in the owner's estate.
Okay, thank you.
How many times have they been contacted?
I spoke with the guardian at length. I think it was in June or July, because there had been some question as to who the guardian was. I first contacted a local attorney who led me to a second local attorney who gave me the history of it. I then contacted Elder Care Solutions, who had been appointed, spoke with that individual as I said, I think it was in June or July, have been contacted in writing. So this is I'd say this is probably the second or third time we've contacted them.
You know what the total cost of the taxpayers?
I believe the amount of the lien is around $1,800 and change. I looked at it today, and the number approximately 1,800 sticks in my mind.
Just curious.
And that's going up because you have to continue with yard care and pest control services.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, with the 534 Marshall Avenue update, The owners have, moved into the property, and they have brought the outstanding water and sewer current. They are in the process of entering into a payment plan of $167 per month, from tomorrow, to March 15th, 2025, to bring the account current and keep up, the payments. So provided that they come in tomorrow with the first payment, that matter will have been, resolved. Okay, the negotiations with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, that you saw the note for the record regarding the executive sessions that were held in September and October. I don't have anything more to report on that. And then the next item, I was asked to, that there should be a discussion on the police services agreement and whether council, wishes to continue, because a year's notice is required if, council would decide not to renew the agreement.
Yes, this is our last opportunity to cancel the contract before it automatically renews. And that would carry us, even if we would cancel tonight, we have to maintain it all through 2025. And if we miss this night, we're gonna end up committed into 2026. And so with the multitude of financial challenges we're looking at, I'd like to discuss it and make a decision we don't have a choice, we have to make a decision tonight, either to commit and carry on, or cancel and try and renegotiate.
What is the current price? I'm sorry, Carol.
What is the length of the
It's a three-year agreement.
a 3-year?
Yeah, with a 1-year cancellation clause. So even if we cancel tonight, we still have Fleetwood for 2025.
Right, so, until, December 31st, 2025, otherwise it automatically renews under section 3 of the agreement.
We're currently paying, Stacy, do you have a ballpark? Is that about 16,000?
Right now, it's just under 200.
Oh, that's right, because I'm including the police, the radio system and all that, so really the police are less than that portion.
So I did send a summary of costs out to everyone.
We would still have the state police, correct?
Correct.
In years gone by, there was a period of time on how there were regional police, and then we had no one, I think, and then a number of changes, and what I've heard is that by and large, the state police are not very responsive to us, historically. I don't know what they would be now, but and they can't just enforce Topton ordinances or.
Well, let me just address that. It's not a deliberate unresponsiveness. It's that they're stretched very thin, because the default position is that if a municipality doesn't have a local police or isn't under contract with another force, the default is the state police. A number of municipalities don't have their own police. So just realize it's not intentional. The other piece of that, though, is that, there was at one point there was a Topton Borough Police, then there was the 2 regional forces, then there was state police, and state police do not, as a rule, enforce local ordinances. That's why you would have, local police coverage for the enforcement of local ordinances.
So, I mean, I've thought about it a lot. And I would like, the only way we can trigger any kind of renegotiation, because Stacy and I did contact Fleetwood, and they really weren't open to renegotiating or having a shorter contract, is to cancel it and then re-engage.
Well, and we have a whole year before we don't have coverage. That would give us an opportunity to look at other options, maybe discuss with Joan if we have any other type of directions we could go with, maybe something that we get involved with. I don't know if that's possible. It's not a conversation for now, but.
Right, I mean, the options are you have the current contract with another force, form your own force, or default to state police. And, you know, you had that experience a few years ago. You've had all of the above experiences.
So with the knowledge everyone has of our financial outlook, I'm gonna recommend that we cancel, attempt to renegotiate in 2025, or find an alternate solution that is more economically viable.
Well, the motion would be either to allow automatic renewal or to, give notice of termination. So, I mean, that would be the motion.
Okay.
The motion would be notice of termination that you're asking for, give notice of termination.
So I'm gonna do the hard one first then. I'd
I
like
think we
to,
owe an obligation to our taxpayers to really investigate all of our expenses, not just this expense, and see if we can do the best we can for them, so.
There has been the last couple months, a number of incidents of vandalism and stealing from properties. This town has some problems. Unfortunately, if it's done in the middle of the night and there's not a camera capable of picking it up, you know, please.
And more residents have cameras on their houses, you know, for, you know, things like that. I mean, it helps a little bit.
and again, I'm not proposing that we leave the town without police protection.
Right.
Proposing that we reevaluate, renegotiate, and find affordable options. Is there any other discussion?
Joan, would the state police come for vandalism?
Yeah. Vandalism is a violation of the crimes code, not a local ordinance. So yes, the state police would. The question is, would it be a high priority if an act of vandalism wasn't ongoing, if an act of vandalism had happened? Is that gonna be high priority based on other crimes that might be occurring at the same time? So yes, they would, and yes, they would enforce laws against vandalism. But again, it's, the response time would not necessarily be the same, and that's maybe what you were talking about the response time, because emergencies are always going to come first, and there's a wide area that, state police would have to cover.
What about theft? Do they have like a cutoff that they'll $100?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I think that thinking of the policies in some cities, some DAs won't prosecute under a certain threshold number, but I'm not aware of the state police having that type of threshold.
So they would come for small theft?
I don't know, but again, the question is, what are the priorities gonna be if there is an emergency somewhere else or a violent crime someplace else? They're going to take care of that first.
Thank you. I guess the other thought in my mind is that we have no way of knowing. We have one officer full-time. The police department, Fleetwood Police have dedicated 40 hours a week to us, so that's the equivalent. They've hired one person. Now they could shift around a day off, so we got different, doesn't mean we always have the same person here, but if they know that we are not gonna renew, would they be giving that person notice, or I don't know.
I don't know, because I don't know what their internal staffing would be.
Right.
That's their business.
Right, that's their managerial prerogative, and their collective bargaining agreement, deals with those issues.
Ideally, if we could have 6 months to look around and figure everything out, and maybe end up saying, well, we should go back with them, but we don't know if they would take us back, so.
Well, I mean, you don't have any way of knowing, and you shouldn't give notice of termination without the intention of actually terminating. This is a serious step, not intended as a bargaining device. I mean, it's a serious step. Negotiation may take place, may not take place. I don't, again, I don't know,
Is there another way to trigger a negotiation that doesn't lock us in? See, my concern is we're gonna miss our only opportunity to get out of it. And
well, I mean, again, you can give the notice of termination, and you have a year while you're still under the contract to pursue options. Some of those options may be looking at contract with other municipalities. There may be other options you might wanna look at during that year, and possibly negotiation during that year, but I would not, what I'm saying is that that termination is a serious step.
it is, but how else do we renegotiate?
Again, that's.
We don't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
We have to terminate this, otherwise we're committed.
We can't afford the contract moving forward.
That's
We
correct.
just can't. So we have to renegotiate, and there's only one way to trigger that.
And we would be reserving those funds for future use, for whatever we're currently spending, so that will be reserved for,
We have to police the town.
we have to figure out what we're doing, so I would suggest if we're gonna do this, that we look at, starting to discuss this, because it takes a long time to get things through council. And I would say maybe once we get through our budget process, maybe January, February, we start having conversations about this whole topic, so we don't get too far into the year.
It's gonna take a whole year.
Right, the year has a way of sneaking up on
Yes,
you,
yeah,
we
so
know that.
we can't be laxed in.
So our only other option is to let it renew, and then we're into 2026.
I think we can do that, I agree with you, fortunately.
Would it renew for 1 year or for 3?
3 years, it's an automatic renewal.
But then we could terminate after with another one, I see.
If we don't terminate tonight, we're gonna be paying in 2026. And there's a real good chance we can't afford it.
Not with everything else for.
Right, because the current extension was entered into by resolution 28-2022. And the term was commencing January 1st, 2023, and ending December 31st, 2025. So we're under the contract through next year, through 2025.
Cancellations by,
Even if we cancel in 2025, we're obligated for 2026.
2026, and no, we renew for another 3 years through 2028, I guess.
Okay, and that's even a bigger choice. Any other discussion? Am I allowed to make a motion, or I just have to ask for
Just
one?
ask for one.
I'd like to ask for a motion to cancel the contract with Fleetwood.
I'll make the motion, to cancel the contract.
Give notice of termination, and that would be for, as of January 1st, 2020, December 31st, 2025.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Does this need to be a roll call, or just?
It should be.
Okay, Stacy, can you do a roll call?
Mr. Arndt,
Yes.
Ms. Cook,
Yes.
Ms. Eisenhardt,
Yes.
Ms. Falcone,
Yes.
Mr. Haney,
Yes.
Ms. Hassler,
Yes.
and Ms. Plummer is absent. You have 6 yeses.
Motion is carried.
We'll prepare a written notice.
And I'd also like to say, I'm very happy with, you know, the police reflection on
So
service.
it's strictly a financial choice.
No, understood.
We need to look at we have a lot going on right now with many different angles. So let's investigate something, hopefully.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
Okay, Borough Manager.
So during the last month, you should have seen the beautiful painted artwork from volunteers from the library that were there that weekend of September 14th and 15th, as well as our previous volunteer for our storm drain painting that will help us in our educational requirement in our MS4 annual report, which was submitted by BIA for us for our last annual report. We are currently in the office working on the budget for 2025. Staff are starting the leaf pickup this week officially, but have already started last week because so many leaves are coming down. So please pay attention to the schedule and where your zone is in Topton. We continued also, the staff and I, working with DP after the inspection by our local representative, and the report for July's incidents will be contained in the newsletter that will be going out with the bills in October. We hope to prepare for TCOC's parade, and thank you to the staff for doing all the work, prep and cleanup. So I agree with Guy, the parade looked very, very well done again this year, and a lot of people were happy.
Okay, thank you.
And the other item I have, if you want me to keep on going, is the MMO, the minimum municipal obligation for the borough's pension plan. The report was supplied to council by September 30th, which is the deadline to inform council of what will need to be paid in 2025. That amount will be included in the 2025 budget. The amount, in case people are interested, is $27,273. And that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, committee reports. Environmental and Conservation, Ms. Cook?
Yes, for source water protection and also municipal separate storm sewer system, commonly referred to as MS4. We have, as Stacy mentioned, the storm drains have been painted, 2 now, very artistically beautiful, brilliant colors, catch people's attention. The only thing that should be going down there is water, not sticks or candy wrappers or anything else. It's important where our Toad Creek feeds a little lehigh, and we've been designated a high quality, important creek, believe it or not, Little Toad Creek. It's very important, and it ends up down in Delaware Bay and then the Atlantic Ocean naturally. Borough employees have put up signs now warning about spill areas for people to contact, who to call if they should have any kind of chemical spill, gasoline, oil, anything that could possibly seep into the ground and then end up contaminating the water. So that was a big effort, and that was involved, but we got through it. Charlie's smiling. Charlie helped a lot. So those have been installed, and that protects both source water and MS4. And I think that's all I have. We're working on trying to actually get signs. I think hopefully we might be qualified for a grant that would cover signs at both ends of our walking trail and also up in the watershed area, both entrances, where we can post things about the quality, water quality, and things that are not good for water quality, and information, littering, whatever, different informational, educational items. But we haven't heard on that yet. That's all I have.
Thank you, Carol. Personnel and policy, Elaine?
For policy, I have nothing to report. For personnel, we've had the resignation of one of our employees, Kyle Roth. I would like to make a motion to accept that resignation.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Is that all you have?
That's all.
Okay. Ms. Plummer is absent, no report for streets. Finance Committee, Ms. Hackler.
I would like a motion to approve the bills and transfers as presented.
I had a couple questions on the bills, Kathy. On page 2 of checklist.
Okay.
Here it is. A couple quick questions. Who is Process Masters? Maybe
That is,
there's a bill for almost $2,600.
yes, here we go. We want the $2,500 one.
Yes.
It's usually a supplier of chemicals.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
And as we all know, chemicals are expensive.
Yes.
They sure are.
It was $2,595.40, and it was the MasterCard.
So then also that same page down, a few inches down the page, renting tractor and equipment for $3,001. What was that? Is that for a piece of equipment or repair or? I'm just curious.
That was repair.
$3,000 repair. Wow. Just buy a new piece of equipment.
No, it's not.
Tractor. It was oil leaks and clicking noise from the wheel. So it needed a seal kit, steering pin, and of course then parts had to be ordered and sent in for it.
What piece of equipment?
I'm just looking here. It was for Scott.
That doesn't,
No.
it's probably the Bobcat.
Yes.
Okay, that's the Bobcat's different than, I didn't know if it was our lawn tractor.
No,
The
it
brand
was.
new piece of equipment from, that's a Kubota brand, no, it is not.
Yes, no, you're right, Stacey, it was a Bobcat, thank you. I didn't look at the second page. If I would've looked at the second page, I would've known.
And then on page 3, I'm sorry, I don't want to take up too much time here, just, I'm not sure what these abbreviations are. There's a check that was made payable to Topton BFRA for $11,700 and change.
That
Who
was.
is that VR? Who is BFRA?
The fire company?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the pass-through.
Volunteer fire company.
Yes, that's
So
it.
we get the money and we
Volunteer.
pass
Yes,
it directly
I just
to
wasn't
them.
sure what
Yeah,
that
that
was,
was
I figured that'd be
pass-through.
something big, I didn't know what that was for.
And it's a long name, so we have to agree.
Yeah, that was just a pass-through.
And then that same page, Univar Solutions, is that another chemical?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
that's scanners. And, the page 4, at the top, the second one, LRM Incorporated,
Okay.
just, what is LRM?
That was, instrumentation and disinfectant systems. And that was equipment repair and maintenance on the effluent.
That
Okay,
is
meter
the wastewater.
replacement, yes, that's wastewater meter replacement.
Okay, on that same page, coming down about 2/3, we have the Brandywine Community Library Association of $15,000.
That was their yearly contribution that was approved.
Okay, we approved that?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
2024 budget.
Yes, that was in the 2024 budget.
Well,
already.
actually, when we approved our budget, it was specifically said that many of those items that we allowed monies in our budget for were not necessarily approved with the budget. They were
I
things-
approved it to be sent.
But I'm saying, we were to vote on it, I have a list of a number of things that our president of council, I'm just saying, we approved the budget and we allowed X amount of money for different things, but those things were to be approved as we went through our budget. So, they weren't automatically approved for the
I approved
CA
it for
program
payment.
and a number of things.
I said they should send it because it was in the 2024 budget.
Well,
Correct.
So I said
So
send
why
it to
are,
them.
why are we going through and approving these if you've already sent them out? It's too late to approve it.
Why would it have been put in the 2024
No,
budget?
it was a line item in the
It was
budget.
a line item
yes,
in the
it was,
budget.
but we put things in the budget, and there was many conversations last year, if you look back at the minutes, where, I'm just saying.
So if
I gotta
we
look
would
at
not
this.
have given them the $15,000, when were you planning on letting them know that we weren't gonna give them the $15,000 for 2024 so that they could do more fundraising?
Well, what I'm saying.
It only leaves them with a month and a half in 2024.
What I'm saying is that when we looked at our budget, it was specifically said on several occasions that we would, not just this fund, this donation, but other donations, we were allowing financially in our budget. It was budgeted, we put money in the budget, but it was stated that those things would not all these things would come to us for actual approval of the spending.
I approved it to be sent to
No,
them.
as a council.
It was approved last year for the
It was
2024
approved.
budget.
It was approved in the budget for 2024 to be
Right.
sent to
Well,
them.
I'll have to go back and we'll look at that. I'm just saying that we actually had conversations that just because we're allowing funds for different things doesn't mean that we're going to actually do it.
But then we need to let these, then
that
they
is
should have been told in January.
Well, that is
Or
true.
even in
then-
2023, when the 2024 budget was being done, that there was a good possibility that you weren't gonna allow them to
Well,
have this
that wasn't decided.
$15,000.
That's what I'm saying, then we were going to, as a council.
Then it shouldn't have been in the
decide-
budget at all. Then
Well,
you should
no,
vote
we have to
not
allow
have
it.
It has to be allowed in the budget. The question is, does that mean that it automatically gets sent out? Now, I don't know what was in the minutes, and I would have to see what was in the
Well,
minutes.
that's why we're
But I
gonna
think-
have these discussions now.
But-
Yes,
And if we're not gonna fund something, it's not gonna be in the budget.
Right, I mean, at this point, the check is already,
Yeah.
I'm assuming
It was
the check
sent.
is
I
already
approved
sent
it
out,
and
but
sent-
I
I
think we
sent
need
it.
to look at practice for, what our practice will be going forward.
Absolutely, because this was a very big specific point in our conversation last year, when we said, it wasn't just this, it was a number of things that we said, well, look, we're not sure if we're going to actually commit this, but we put it in our budget, and then we would talk about it.
Yeah.
This is one of many things. I'm not saying I have a problem with us funding the library and paying this amount, except that we didn't officially discuss the actual spending of it. We put it in a budget.
Usually what happens is that it's budgeted, and then as you get towards mid-year, especially year end, a list of contributions is approved, and sometimes it's the budgeted amount and sometimes it's not, but I'm not sure what the past practice has been, and I'd have to look at last year's minutes, but again, I think it just says going forward, we need to be
Look at the minutes.
cautious.
in
We need to be cautious.
October,
Yeah,
yes,
we need to be
because-
cautious about it going forward because of the borough's financial situation.
It's a topic for discussion
Absolutely, so,
for this budget, so.
thank you, that's why I just wanted to know what was happening there.
Okay.
And that's the end of my questions for.
Okay, then I'd like a motion to approve the bills and transfers as presented.
I have a question, a couple of ones Elaine had, but on the first page, for, I don't know the abbreviation, EFTP
That is payroll taxes that must be paid.
via internet. Okay, that's payroll
payroll
taxes.
taxes.
Thank you. How does it work, Kathy? Payroll deduction liability payment?
That is what was deducted out of the people's pay that must be sent to either federal, so, which one was that?
Health and voluntary life
Voluntary
and disability
deductions.
insurance, we do 2 checks every payroll.
So the employee's portion?
Correct.
Thank you. And the blue, what is USA Blue that we're paying for?
Chemicals.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's all. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay.
There's a motion on the floor.
Is there a second?
No.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I saw some more.
Okay, go ahead.
Check signers, we're gonna designate the alternate as the personnel and policy committee chair, but there won't be a person named, so to speak, listed, so that if the chair changes.
Just have to get a new signature card.
Correct, we don't have to change that. They did the presentation, also the use of recreation loan proceeds to pay for the 2023 single audit, KLO. And Mr. Bell explained why we needed to have that done, so I need, an approval for that $7,500.
Does anybody have questions about that?
That all that was required.
It was
Correct,
the TASA,
because
without
we
the TASA,
spent the money.
we wouldn't have had to do it.
Now 7,500?
For the audit, single audit.
Correct, we had to do it, it had to be done. So I just need a motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Do we have to do anything for the
Signers.
alternate signer?
It was in a motion
That was already,
previous, yes.
that was already in motion to designate the alternate as the personnel and policy committee chair, and, she'll have to sign the signature card that the bank will provide.
We did that already.
When was that
Okay.
voted on?
When was it, wasn't it just voted on?
No.
Oh, then it needs.
No, we need a motion.
Okay.
We need a motion, and
I thought it had been voted on. There's no, you don't benefit financially on it, you better not. No, you don't have to abstain.
Okay.
the check signers, a motion?
Someone make a motion?
This is a deviation from what we've done in the past. So I don't know that that matters.
What was done in the past?
The vice president would sign, but I'm not willing to sign for us. The bank. Stacy expressed to me that she was concerned about if there could be confusion about who could sign for us and who could sign for M&T. Elaine and I discussed it, and both of them were pretty much capable of knowing which bank we would sign for.
Okay, so I'll
Without
present the checks.
confusion.
Okay. That's the way you'd like to do it.
So, is that okay? That would change this. Or I would sign for M&T and she would sign for us when the need arose.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the agenda item is check signers, so it doesn't matter which bank you choose, one with one bank, one with the other, it just says designate the alternate as check signers. Designate alternate check signers, so it's very general, so.
So that position could sign on all accounts if necessary.
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay.
So then would it say
check signers, designate alternate as EP and personnel, or personnel and policy committee chair.
Do you want to amend the motion?
Yes, I mean, my intent wasn't to exclude one position, but to add an
To add it,
alternate.
all right, so the vice president of council is already considered an alternate.
Mhm.
So this is, all this is a motion to designate as an additional alternate the personnel and policy committee chair. That'll be the motion.
Correct, that was the intent.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Community relations, Carol.
Trunk or treat will be on the 31st, and Redeemer Church will be in the Trinity parking lot. And they had mentioned that if anybody wants, any business or individual wants to come to the parking lot, decorate their trunk and hand out candy, I think it's at 6 o'clock, starting at 6. You're welcome to participate. And also, jumping right to Christmas, we have decided the tree lighting ceremony would be December 8th. And more information will follow on that one.
Thank you very much. Okay, properties committee, Scott.
Okay, the logging project, will be starting back up sometime this month, probably towards the end of the month. Currently, they have a third of the area marked, and they should be completed by the end of November. And then we'll start putting out bids for who's gonna take them down. They should be all marked by the end of November. The park restrooms, right now they're locked. The idea came up about having one restroom designated for vendors and one restroom designated for the softball association. They would take care of stocking it, cleaning it, maintaining it, or whatever needs to be done.
So it'll be a unisex bathroom?
Yes. If we all agree that we can do that, we could put it in the agreement for next year.
Why would you wanna do that, unisex?
Well, they need some place to go, don't they?
And it's kind of unfair for
It's-
softball
I
to be
mean,
responsible.
right now softball, if you're watching the softball game, you gotta walk to Tony's or you gotta walk down to the Little League field to go to the bathroom.
There was a problem with the keys and they were repeatedly
They
locked.
would be responsible if they forget to lock it up and there'd be vandalism or the poo vandal comes back, it's their responsibility to clean it up, not ours.
And we can put that in the contract?
And we can put that in the contract.
I would not clean their restroom at all. I would
Absolutely not, absolutely not.
They would be responsible for stocking it, cleaning it, maintaining it, doing
And it
whatever.
would be only one bathroom?
Yeah.
Not two.
And one would be designated for renders, and we would take care of that one. The other one would be, if you take the men's now, that could be for the softball, and the women's could be for the people running the pavilion.
Is there any signage that we need to get or anything?
Well, we have to.
We'd have to change the signage. No, I don't think so.
And the locks,
Yeah.
so they don't match.
Right.
Would you have to add a urinal to the women's bathroom?
There's no room in it.
Oh.
I don't know where they would,
That was a good question.
just, I'm going around the room, it's like, no, wait a minute. I don't think they, the way it's set up, I don't think they can.
I don't have
Keep
a
it
problem with it.
simple.
Yeah.
And this would be for how, during what time of the, like,
I mean,
during the year?
the softball would,
Just from during their season,
yeah.
so it could be used then for,
Well, I
beyond
don't
their
know if we
season.
wanna do that.
Well, their season is from when to, so,
They do fall
They
also.
do fall ball, I mean,
Just
it's
spring, summer,
pretty much
fall.
from springtime to fall. Brian, do you go there?
That's about right.
I know their schedule. I used to coach, I coached for 4 years for Greater White Girls softball. Their fall schedule runs from the end of August till the end of October, so it's about over. Spring schedule starts up in March and ends the end of May, beginning of June. But they also do have a summer team sometimes. They have the 14U girls summer
That goes to
softball.
July, end of July.
And that goes from beginning of May till
End of July.
August, the 1st of August.
Yeah.
Depends where they have tournaments.
Realistically,
So it's a lot.
it would be their bathroom, because they're gonna stock it, clean it.
Yes.
Which is what baseball currently does with the
And-
bathroom closest to theirs.
And it will not be available to the public, it will only be for,
Theirs, I'd say, would only be available to them if they're
and that's for,
doing the stocking.
so that's
They're,
only, so
they're
it'll only
buying the
be open during their
toiletries,
games,
so.
They'll
their
have to
practice.
figure out how to control it.
Well, what I'm worried more about is, we have a park of, we have all the rest of our residents that may need a bathroom, and if it's only open when they're around, which is actually a lot of the time, but like someone could accidentally walk in there, even though it's a softball bathroom. So we wanna do that for the rest of our residents who use the park.
If there's people in the park and there's a softball game going on, can they go ask for the key? Because it's not open now, and there's a lot of people there today.
Well, it's not open now because of the vandalism, we would normally have it open all the time, but.
But I'm saying, at least this way, it would be open and available for them. Right now, there's nothing available for the residents, because they're locked because of the vandal. So if there's a softball game going on, they can go to the refreshment stand, get the key.
If they know to do that, maybe we could put some signage up.
I mean,
so
I don't
people
know,
know
maybe
that.
they don't wanna
that's
do
a
that.
good idea.
That I don't know.
So, I think initially, the bathrooms were supposed to be for anybody using any of the park. And we have people who take preschoolers there during the day. And that has been a number of comments about that, gee, we can't use it. So, you're kind of taking away from all the ones with young kids to give to softball.
Okay, but is it gonna be open next year,
Is what gonna be
the restrooms, for the residents?
Possibly, if we could catch the vandal that's smearing waste all over the walls and.
I don't know how we even catch them. I honestly don't, because you can't have a camera that.
If it's gonna be open, it's pretty much a moot point, because then softball will have a key for it, correct?
So the one that the renters use, do we give the little kids
Well,
hours for that?
If you're gonna open it up,
Then
the renters are gonna get 2 keys anyway. I mean, right now, there's nothing for them.
part of this, Stacy, is because we have it on a timer, is that part of the situation?
No, it can, the timer can be turned off,
And
and it can be just locked.
I mean, it's.
There's a deadbolt
Okay.
on each door.
Talk about.
We're halfway through October, their season ends in October. The bathrooms are gonna be shut anyway, once they're winterized,
Yep.
right?
Can't be used.
So,
Maybe we should table it and just talk about it.
we can talk
Think
about
about
it,
it.
and when it's time, and just have an answer for when it's time to sign the agreement. But I think they should have something.
They
And
should
we
have
probably wanna talk about the master plan incorporating these bathrooms at some point. I think that was a point of discussion for the future. That might change a lot as far as available facilities.
I'm fine.
Yeah, we put
We
those
got
facilities
till next-
in for
we
our
got till next
community, and
March,
we had
yeah.
one bad apple that's ruining our facility, and we need to address that.
I honestly don't think it's just one person.
Well,
Why do you say that?
we can discuss that later. Another thing was, it's currently hunting season. Up at the watershed, a lot of people use it for hunting. A lot of people use it to walk their dog, walk on the trails or whatever. It might be a good idea if we post some kind of sign, one sign on each gate, letting the people know that they're using it for hunting, that it is hunting season. And a simple sign might just be from September to the end of January is hunting season. That covers both archery and rifle season.
I didn't know they could hunt in there.
What's
Is there
that?
enough distance for them to hunt in that land? Where the trails
The
are?
council
I know that
actually,
we don't allow trapping in
But-
there, but
but the previous council with the last agreement allowed hunting, yes.
Have there been interactions between hunters and,
Not that I know of. The guy that pointed this out to me, there's people on his trail cam not doing nothing, but he's just concerned. They're up there, no orange.
like
The
safety.
dogs are just running and not leashed. And he's,
okay,
you know, how trigger happy
accidents
people are.
happen.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem putting some signs up. That seems like
I don't know if you just wanna get special ones made stating hunting season from September to January, or,
Hike at your own risk, or, I mean, I don't know what do you do, I mean.
The game commission, they have signs up there for, like, do not block the road and stuff, so if you contact the game commission.
I think some of them do not block the road or ours, right?
No,
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 that's our inner agreement between.
Okay.
yeah, so the game commission might be able to put a sign, there is signs at each entranceway, to not to block the gates, and to not to, yeah, there is, state game, or game commission signs at those.
Some are ours, some are theirs.
Yeah. There's
I
signs.
like that
Do you want me to,
Just a beware of,
I don't get along with them, but if you want me to call them tomorrow, I will.
Makes a new relationship.
a couple of signs won't cost a lot of money.
No.
No, and this is, and you can, I would say you can vote on this, it's de minimis. It's de minimis that you can have this on the agenda.
I totally missed that.
No, that, it's not on the agenda about the signs, but I would say the cost is de minimis, minimal,
Yeah.
so you don't need a motion to amend the agenda, you can vote on it.
Oh, we have to vote on it?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
there's some expenditure, so you need to vote on it.
Can I have a motion to buy some signs?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Yeah, that's something.
all in favor? Any opposed?
Well, we should put a monetary amount on that, not more than
Right.
$50. I mean,
Oh,
Well,
they're,
$50.
that's too cheap.
Maybe,
Oh,
maybe,
that's what I
more
said.
expensive.
maybe $100 or $150 for some signs.
Alright, we should put a limit on it just because.
Okay,
What kind of sign, what are we looking at? Just a little sign that goes on?
Why don't I just call them and see what they have available?
yeah.
They might have something already.
And it's free from the game commission.
Right.
There you go.
Alright, let's do that, we don't need a motion, right?
Right.
Yeah, just
Okay.
to direct it at that point.
commission can do that.
Okay,
So I have,
thank you. Just for the sake of the softball people that I know are here, we're gonna continue the discussion
one other thing.
on the restrooms, so it's not done and over.
One other thing with the softball, they're gonna move forward with lighting the field.
I do have a comment on that, so, whatever plan they come up with, I'm gonna insist that it coincides with our master plan, because there's gonna be electrical services involved, potential nuisance to residents. It needs to be an engineered solution, not just a couple of guys whacking lights on poles. So we need to, there's actually gonna be a presentation next Wednesday for the park master plan. I would highly recommend.
This Wednesday.
This Wednesday.
6:30.
Oh, okay. Got something else to do.
6:30.
This Wednesday, 6:30. Please come by because
I'm not, just to make a correction, I'm not associated with, Brandywine Girls Softball League. I used to coach for them. I coached for them for 4 years. This master plan, this light thing has been going on for over 10 years, right? It has. We've been they were trying to get lights on that field 10 years ago when I coached for them.
I understand, but
And there was a previous council, but
whatever we do, it's gotta be done right. It's gotta be
it does,
engineered.
but whatever they brought forward before, council always blocked it. So we need to find a way to come together as a community for baseball and softball.
I agree.
Okay.
It all starts with a plan.
The lights were supposed to be included in the last plan, and they were left out at the last minute.
Well, we're gonna find out if there's lights in this plan, and if not.
There are lights in the plan.
Why they blocked it before.
Anything else, Scott?
I'm done.
Okay. Utilities, me. Okay, the meters were all read, so the next bill will not be estimated. That's good news. Just for reference, there's currently 4 payment plans that will be all caught up before the next bills go out. We have no meter switches. We have 1 resident terminated for non-payment. Just a reminder that the bills are not estimated. Total account receivables to date is approximately $2,000. That's all I have on that.
Can I add something about the sewer loan to your, or about the accounts receivable? Sewer loan has a payment coming due December 1st, and, it's around $2,338, and sewer should be able to pay that themselves this time.
Awesome.
Yeah, they should be able to, afford that themselves, so.
Thank you very much. That's all I have. I'm gonna defer the pump station to Charlie, and now it's time for the engineer's report.
So we'll start by going back up into the property with Brian here, to talk about the Oak Alley project, and let him, yes, go first.
Sorry, I'm not quite sure how to show this.
Well, we put
So,
two, you
probably-
can slide it, we can pass it.
Yeah, so I'll probably do it twice. So, Brian Smith, with Barry Isett and Associates. We've been working on the Oak Street Improvement Project. Now, the borough was in receipt of a $247,000 DCNR grant that is funding this project. And that includes both our design, the survey that was done, and then also construction documents, and then also the construction itself. So it's one grant that the borough received that's gonna be paying for this project.
And it has no match.
Yeah, there's no match. So, well, there is technically a match, but the match is the TASAP project, which was just been completed, so.
No additional match.
So, just for orientation, so everybody understands what the project entails. So this is the park itself, this is the borough building that we're in right now, and I'm sorry, I'll turn around and explain to you all. So this is Callowhill, and then this is Oak Street. The project looks to include or provide a new sidewalk that would be ADA accessible, starting at a new handicap ramp at Callowhill, and then proceeding along Oak Street, and then terminating at the existing trail that was just recently installed as part of the TASAP project. So I'm starting, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna turn around and explain it to these folks. So this is the park plan. This is White Street down at the bottom. Callowhill is along that side. This is Borough Hall, which is where we're at right now. So the project is creating a new sidewalk that goes from Callowhill along the south side of Oak Street,
and then ties into the new recently installed trail right before it crosses the first pedestrian bridge in the park. That's the location of the project. So this is an enlargement of the actual project itself. So again, it starts, this is Callowhill Hill on this side, this is Oak Street at the top, and it's been broken into 3 segments. So again, we start at the top with the new handicap ramp, new curb and sidewalk that then follows along the existing parking area that's along Oak Street, continues down and connects into the existing trail that's just below the new pavilion. Then we continue down Oak Street. We actually provide a new ADA access that connects down to the softball fields. We are also replacing a shallow water line that currently services the softball field. So this will be an improvement to that utility. And then the trail continues down and then along the softball field and then ties into the existing TASAP trail, which then crosses over the creek just below. So the project, I'm sorry. So again, here we're showing this is the corner start of the project. This is Callowhill Street. This is Oak Street at the top. The area that's shown in kind of a light red is the proposed new sidewalk, and then there's also a curb line along. So we'll follow along the existing parking and then tie into the existing trail that's just below the existing pavilion. We continue down. We also provide a new access to the softball fields. This blue line represents the new water line service that will service the softball. And then it continues down and then eventually ties into the existing TASAP trail right by the creek. So it creates a fully ADA accessible path from Callowhill all the way along, connecting into the new connections that are to the playground, also to the pavilion, and then the softball field, and then finally to the TASAP trail through the park. The project does include a number of landscape improvements as well, so that's what those green circles are indicating. Those are new native trees to Pennsylvania, to this region, oaks, maples, and then also flowering dogwood. So tonight, presenting this plan to ask for council's permission to submit or prepare this and publicize it for bidding. We have submitted all the appropriate documents to DCNR. They have approved it, and so now we're at a stage where we're ready to put this out to bid. Once we put this out to bid, we will solicit bids from contractors, we'll receive the bids, and then we'll present those to council for a decision on an award. So at this point, we would just be authorizing us to put this out to bid.
The other project, if you remember, we received grants for street combing on Callowhill. And those had come in high partially because of the mobilization, demobilization. So the plan was to reissue that as a contract along with this to try to take advantage of that and with some ability to pare it back as so they keep you within the funding. But that has been our plan, so we would be looking to include that in there also.
And does this grant,
Go ahead.
does this grant also include the moving of any sewer lines, water lines, anything like that? Because you can't be putting a sidewalk over top of.
So we don't have to relocate anything. We do have to we are relocating and fixing that shallow water line.
It was too shallow, we would have dug into it.
Yeah.
But I thought there were sewer lines that will go down where your sidewalk is
There is a
located.
location where we're crossing the sewer line, but we don't have to impact it.
No, I think the sewer line goes down.
It does go
Oh,
down, but
alleyway.
we're not impacting it. It's right along the edge of our project, but we're not putting anything on top of it.
How wide is the sidewalk gonna be? Is it gonna be from the edge of the alley to and in?
Yes, so it's 5 feet wide.
5 feet wide, okay.
There's no curb.
We are adding a curb, yes.
Oh, you're putting curb?
We are putting curb as well, yes.
The access for the softball field, is it gonna match up with their access now?
Correct.
You met with the utility folks.
Yes, we did with the borough's utility.
And they said that the
Is
sewer
that you
lines
or was
and
that
water
Scott?
lines, everything.
I drew on a map, but I'm gonna tell you, I think that's gonna go over top the sewer line.
So, well,
It looks it,
Is the sewer shallow?
I had to guess, I'd say 4 feet.
Oh, okay, so we won't.
Now, but if we have a blockage, that could be.
they just dumped everything up just a couple months ago.
yeah, I don't have the sewer line shown on this plan, so I can't say exactly where it is, but I know we had submitted it in the borough, I reviewed it. I don't believe it's over top of the sewer line. Do you have a full set?
The other question is, when I was president of the girls softball, we ran for the scoreboard, we just ran, and I don't remember how deep or where, but we ran the wire along the same path going out back.
Is it along the fence line right there?
I don't think it was close to the fence line, to tell you the truth.
Do you know
The
how
other,
far
the other thing
off?
is the two sheds they have go right
That
there.
line did with the backhoe.
I mean, you're talking, that was like 10 years ago when I was president, that we did this scoreboard.
And the other thing is the two sheds, if their sidewalk's 4 feet wide, that
Yeah,
whole
they're-
lane,
They're
they're
being moved.
gonna have to move their sheds.
They know, softball knows that the sheds will be moved. They've already been informed. On the other side.
Oh.
Yeah, so you might hit some wires for the scoreboard, but they go back.
I can double check with them.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to double check that.
May I ask, the 247,000 that was approved by DCNR,
Yes,
is that for just the curbs and ADA access and the sidewalk
yes.
And the green.
trees, yep.
and the lens?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question.
If this is actually a revised scope, it was actually approved initially for something else. We had done part of that, and
There's something I need to know before we proceed with that. And that is, you know, that's a really nice project, but as you know, we have a failing pump station that affects our residents. I wanna know, without a doubt, that money can't be diverted to the pump station.
nope.
So this is funded through the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. It is specifically targeted towards recreation and ADA access only. The grant was applied for with a specific scope and was approved based on a specific scope.
Wasn't the funding diverted one other time?
The only thing that was changed was the location. So originally the funding was towards part of the pathway that was put in by the TASAP project. So it was revised to a different part of the park to help make further improvements.
When we had some parking that you guys put in, so
Right.
that.
So the reason I'm asking,
No, we got you, no, we cannot.
if the pump station fails and we're putting in sidewalks and we can't fix the pump station, it's not gonna look good.
It can't be reallocated.
No, it cannot go to water and sewer. We would love to be able to, but it cannot.
Okay.
It's money that it's not our money, right?
Right.
It's grant money.
Right.
It's 100% at this point, right?
Okay. And of course, it's coordinated with the master plan.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I got.
Once this goes out to bid, how long are you expecting this project will take to complete?
So I would anticipate the bulk of the work will be within 45 to 60 days. The overall contract will probably be 90 days. And it wouldn't start until obviously the spring. But we're trying to get this bid now so we get really competitive costs.
Are we gonna have any issues with getting bidders, like we did with the pump station? Because of our current situation?
So we've seen an actually really active bidding schedule right now. So we have a number of projects that we've been putting out to bid. We recently had one where we had 6 bidders, we've had 4 bidders. This will be put online through PennBid, so that really optimizes the amount of exposure of the project. So not only will it be advertised, you know, in the local paper, but it will also be electronically available through PennBid. So that opens it up to thousands of potential bidders.
And it's a fairly simple project.
Can you force them to bid on the pump station to get that?
Wish you could.
Okay, thank you.
What's the material of the walkway to be?
Concrete. So it'll be concrete sidewalk.
guess the one concern that I picked up on, if I got it right, was it's 5 foot wide and there's sewer underneath, it gets clogged, they have to get to it, then I guess they're just breaking up the sidewalk to get to it. 5 foot.
Well,
I don't know if they can-
we'll confirm the location of the sanitary sewer.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess he needs a motion to proceed.
Yes.
Does anyone wanna make a motion? Okay, second?
Okay.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Brian.
So just going down your list before I hit any extras, the pool parking lot demolition is on hold, I believe, still. That's at your guys' discretion. The next recreation committee meeting, where there'll be a presentation of the plan, is 16th at 6:30. Washington Street, I am currently talking to a couple of contractors and vendors on alternate solutions. The big challenge is the timeline of the removal and bypass pumping. That's where they're worried, so it's mitigating that. And the other factor that comes into that, although timing may be a concern, is that it is LSA statewide grant time. So that's due at the end of next month. We had two options for one of those for you, abutting existing projects. One being that we had been underfunded on the East Barclay Street water project, so we could only do half of it. So that would be an alternative. The other alternative is to ask for funds for Washington Street, noting that we won't know this until sometime in the middle of 2025, and you can't expend funds. If you get a grant after you expended funds, it doesn't do any good. So we need, that I'll need some direction for. The other thing we thought about was the water supply well, but that doesn't rise to either one of those two priorities based on what we talked about. So those would be really, you can choose something else, but from the discussions we've had on planning and the shortfalls carrying through. We'd asked for 385 for East Barclay and we got 185. So that's why we're in that. Now part of that was because we gone for mill and overlay on the street, but they didn't even give us enough to do all the water line. So that would be the big area of direction we would need from you guys as far as going forward. If you want to apply for grant for additional funds, there is not a mandatory match, and both of those projects haven't already have grant funds made available to them, so you would get credit for that. That makes it an attractive project for a grant. They would be helping to complete a project versus a standalone.
And the LSA, you said no grant, no matching.
No mandatory match, but we would have a match because of the other grants on either project.
What we already have, yes.
Yes, which you already have, and both of those have a mandatory match, so you've got a match.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is there stuff that we can take out of that package and just worry about the pump station itself?
So the first one was the force main, yes.
Lines, stuff like that.
And the valve pit coming out, the big cost increase over the initial expectations was the removal of the pump station and the bypass pumping. They were planning several weeks instead of just one. And it's 24/7 operator, as we saw while it went down the last time.
It's gotta go down, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll make those mods and re-put it out.
Well, yeah, Topton Council.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think if you can get it cheaper just by getting the pump station in, don't worry about the line replacing up to the,
Nope, that was coming out, yes.
and paving and all that.
Yep.
Just
So,
an,
Charlie-
just an idea to get the price down.
Yep.
So I would assume when you're saying that you need direction, that you would need a motion.
I just need,
To
we will
pursue-
bring back we have to bring back a resolution with a
Right.
cost estimate for the next meeting, so that's where you'll take action. I just don't wanna go through the process, we do the grant application for free. But I don't wanna go through the process and choose the wrong project, or choose a project that you guys aren't gonna wanna do. So I really informally need some direction as to.
The pump station's the priority at this point, so whatever we gotta do to get that done.
Okay.
And just as that's consensus of council, you don't need a motion.
Absolutely.
Pump station.
Pump station.
Okay.
Station.
Okay.
We will do so. On the water supply well, we have been speaking with DEP. We will be getting with the fire company. They want us to do some additional testing on the monitoring wells on site. We're verifying the final parameters. Some of that got put in the air with the new PFAS regulations. We're trying to find out. One of their concerns, because the map shows the Rod and Gun Club is lead, so that's what they're pushing on that one. And as was said, the MS4 went in and they got acknowledgement of receipt for that, so.
Okay, thank you. Under old business, hometown heroes, Stacy?
Yes, I met with the teacher at the school district who began the project with the students a few years ago, asking if the school would now take over their project again. We had been doing some admin work for them, as well as being the pass-through financial entity for the funds that paid for the Hometown Hero banners. And he is open to that. He needs to bring that to the school district, probably by way of the superintendent. The borough would still be the installers and uninstallers, if that's fine with council. He's fine with pursuing the program and keeping it alive at the school district, rather than having the majority of the work being done here at the borough. Because we're getting to the point of not having as many locations or as much interest. We did a final push for the last few. If we get more than 10, great, but please, if you want a banner, I think we need at least 2 more to do the final order.
So you did get a couple more then?
With that final push on Facebook, on the website. Any questions or concerns that I need to convey to the school district?
Just how many poles are available, and we have to be the ones to tell them that, right? So that they're not selling banners that can't go up.
Sure.
But some are gonna be coming down now too, right?
That's
They're gonna
true,
start
yes.
coming down, which
Yep,
will.
yep, and they'll be tracking all of that. They'll be
Yeah, that
tracking
will open up those
who to
polls
communicate
then.
with, and, yep.
Okay, thank you. Topton Community Ambulance, do you have anything?
I believe you were provided with list of calls.
It has the EMS emblem on the left-hand corner. Council was provided that.
Is there any
That was all I
questions?
had.
Okay. If there's no questions, we'll move on. Borough Preservation Board. Carol?
Apparently Larry didn't provide you with, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, great. Let's see a copy, please.
Sure.
We did not have a meeting. Larry provides very detailed accounting of all his activities and people who come to the museum. Currently, for the Preservation Board, the most important item is the
bank balance, which right now is $3,797.95. If anybody would like to look at this that didn't get it, it's available. I think that they had a good turnout for the anniversary celebration that I know a number of council members went to, and it was a lovely day, and I think he had a good turnout. He was inside explaining things like crazy as he does so well. He knows every item in there. He can tell you all the background on it, so he was enjoying himself, and people were, I think, amazed and astonished at the amount of items that are in there over the years from Topton. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Library.
Thank you for your support of the library.
Okay. If that's everything, I know we're all burned out, but, how about another executive session before we adjourn? You wanna finish that page, Stern?
With personnel.
Oh, for the,
litigation services.
for the Teamsters negotiations.
Okay, labor negotiations.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we all good with that?
I need a motion to adjourn to,
Recess.
executive session.
Recess to, will there be any official action taken afterwards?
No.
Okay, so it'll be adjournment after executive session then.
Okay, I need motion for adjournment to executive session.
Motion?
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Let me ask you a question.
I did you as the motion and Elaine as the second.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yes, oh, good, yes, yes, absolutely, okay, okay, great.
Just sorry, I don't wanna.
Yeah, we've
Thank
been
you.
working on it for months now, so.
Okay.
Should be quick.
No.